Mogwai quits every 2 weeks. Check W. I mean, we all quit every 2 weeks. I quit every 2 weeks. BBG quits every 2 weeks. Like, literally everyone's quitting every 2 weeks. Like, the only thing that keeps me going right now, you guys asked me, so why don't you do a spooky Halloween deck? The only thing that keeps me going right now is Soraka's thighs. Single-handedly keeping me in the game. I refuse to play any other deck. Mulling this deck is so weird. I think I full mull but star. This has to be right. This looks good. He says after just playing another deck. That was a garbage deck activate. That was different. I made a blood oath to the sanctity of garbage deck activates. So here we want to play Starspring. Why do we want to play Starspring, you might ask? Well, there's 6 cards on top of my deck, which is actually a pretty substantial chance. It's like a 16-17% chance. Pretty substantial. Wait, it's more than that. Ah, who cares? That I'm getting a 1-drop. If I'm getting a 1-drop in the next couple of cards, I'll need to play Starspring this turn so that I can play the 1-drop into the Croaker next turn. Very important, because Landmarks can't use spell mana, which matters so much. We have to weigh the odds of like him actually having some kind of play here, and this deck can't really pass turn 2 proactively if they have a play. If they had Teemo or Starseer, they would play it proactively on 2 against my deck, so there's no chance of getting punished. So we open with the Starseer and take the chance of top decking the 1-drop. We whiff it, but honestly it matters more than you would think. It matters a lot more than you would think. So this is what we call like playing to your outs, which is like just like thinking, oh, we might top deck something next turn, let's make a sequence that's non-committal. We're not assuming we're gonna top deck it, but choose a sequence that just happens to be slightly better if we do top deck it, right? I guess I can play Soraka here for mana efficiency. No, I want to bank full with the Tom Kench turn, I think. This is weird. This is so strange. Bad hand, for sure. So the thing about playing to your outs is like, I think a lot of players understand what it is and that they should be doing it. But what you might underrate is like how big of a deal it actually is. A lot of people probably think things like that are like these like nitty gritty min-max kinds of things. And in reality, it's like on average, your deck is going to be 30. And usually playing to an out is a 3 of. Which means like on average playing to an out is like a 10% chance of like making a play that's much better. And 10% is actually a lot. Like a 10% chance is a huge amount in this context. Absolutely. Like every 10 times you do that, you will have almost game-winning value off of doing that, right? Like that's going to affect your net win rate so much if you just like are constantly able to be planning ahead a little bit and thinking about, you know, the next few turns what you could be drawing. The reason why this is one of the hardest decks in the game is because you constantly have to be doing that. So it's 5. I can play Soraka, Box Tip on 5. I wouldn't leave any mana open for Acquired Taste. Funnily enough, I might just try to Acquired Taste first. The whole point of Soraka... this is such a weird matchup. I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I'm fucked. Ah, Christ. Yeah. I don't know. This is... We have a bad hand. Not having Codger and, like, if we had Box Tipus earlier and we had, like, Box Tipus into Soraka on 3, that would have been really nice. Having Starspring, no Codger. Star Shepherd is a really big bailout to this hand, by the way. Just having a unit is so important. Here's the thing that makes this awkward. We want reactivity, but because he's developed tempo, we don't have the ability to get reactivity. Like, I'd like to pass there, but I can't pass. Because he actually has a good pass, because he'll just attack into me and jam me up. Because he owns the board. So I can Soraka and just I think it's fine to forego the ability to acquire taste this turn. There's nothing really in his deck that's like so scary that I need specifically acquired taste for it.
Oh, that's a harvest right there. I've always been a fun guy.
Oh, Jesus. Is that deck actually just like low-key favored into this one? I mean, obviously this is a bad matchup, but like even outside of this matchup, it kind of looks like the way that deck plays should actually do pretty well into the way this deck plays. If, in theory, if I assume he has no combat tricks, we do have the ability to flip Soraka this turn for value too. If we assume he has no combat tricks. That's too trolling. His deck is literally all combat tricks. A lot of like this deck runs stuff like Mystic Shot too. So I guess I have to pale that. He's just gonna save it again with something else. But it's still probably my best pale to take. So we're still up on that exchange. Like, we're up 1 mana from that flash freeze and up a card in hand, which matters a lot more than, like, the unit stat line. That feels alright. But the problem with this matchup is, like, my deck doesn't rush him down that fast, and these puff caps are actually scary. And I mean, he does have a really crazy puff cap hand. I think I'm not... If he doesn't play Teemo on turn 1 in this matchup, I'm not that scared. Because we actually we can't really answer Teemo for a few turns usually with this deck. Monka. But yeah, like the mana game, it's so hard to understate, or so important to state how insanely important the mana game is. Right? Like this idea of who's got more mana, who's got more reactivity. Like the fact that we traded 1 mana up with like Pale into Flash is such a big deal. It's such a big deal. So now I have the ability to pass and level up my Soraka. Or I could go under 5 mana. Or I could pre-commit Acquire Taste and see how that works out. He's keeping 5 mana open. I think he'd be just like giga trolling if he's got like, I don't know, a Fury of the North, but it's so easy for him to have something like a Get Excited. We don't need the Codger to actually represent any unique options because we've still got Acquired Taste +2. So now we're winning the mana exchange. This is what Tahm Kench does as a card. He, like, think of Tahm Kench like he just burns mana. He doesn't let the opponent spend their mana. This is what, like, when you look at Tahm Kench like a value engine, it's actually a bad card. And that's why a lot of players, myself included, thought it would be underwhelming. But it's not a value engine. It's like, it forces the opponent to just not be able to do anything. I'm discarding the Acquired Taste every turn, and I'm happy about that. That's what I want. Because my opponent literally doesn't have the ability to do anything while I have that card in my hand. And because it's so cheap, I'm winning the mana game every turn. Because I'm threatening this card plus a trick, even when I have just 4 mana. Even when I have just 4 mana, I'm spending my mana and my opponent isn't spending theirs. That's the trick of Tahm Kench. That's what makes him nuts. So it looks like, I mean, we do have a pretty hot shakedown here. We are just going to want to drag these two. We can go ahead and threaten effectively like the board at large here. So we go this into this, this into this, this into this, this into that, and this into this. That's optimal. Okay. So yeah, we don't want the Tahm Kench taking any damage. We want the Soraka taking maximum damage. We need the box to bust to challenge the unchallengeable Puffcat Peddler. Soraka needs to heal the Codger to challenge the other Peddler. Okay. And we've got, you know, Static Shock coming in, which is a pretty nice opportunity for some Blast Figure. The fact that we're accelerating Starspring's ability to kill him is important here, because he is putting us on a bit of a clock. Yeah, this is looking perfectly fine. Discards Rummage and Kindly. He's realizing his health doesn't matter, so we can just discard Kindly. Discarding Rummage is actually very interesting there, because that means the other 2 cards in his hand must be very good for him to discard Rummage there, I would say. And he realizes he has to send his win condition is face, so he couldn't have like tried to threaten Codger either. He actually needs to just try to deal 13 damage. Honestly, that's going to be really hard here. I'm never going to let him play. So he has 1 mana. He could actually have a Teemo here. So I actually can't ever play Acquired Taste, because Teemo is that rethreat. Well, I guess I do have Hush. I guess I don't give a shit about Teemo. That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. That's a really inefficient play that doesn't really accomplish anything, but at the same time, nothing else really matters either. So, if I didn't have Hush, doing this would be trolly. Or if I didn't even have, like, double Hush. I have to play around Feel the Rush. But I've got double Hush. Yeah, and again, we put him on Teemo. We would have just completely... If we didn't have a way to deal with Teemo, we would have absolutely kept that up as an option. But being able to deal with... I mean, the Peddler is some notion of a threat. Just because it actually represents an engine that isn't really hushable. Unlike Teemo, which we can just hush and kill, Peddler is, like, a bit more annoying. We have 40 puff caps. He's actually not that far off from killing us. Good thing we run this neat Hush card, huh? Very cute. Super adorable. Cool card. Okay, sweet. So, I mean, he's dead before we're even drawing another card here. Hilariously enough, Guiding Touch Face actually represents a lose condition, because there's a chance we die if we do that, whereas if I just end my turn... Wait, we're drawing one off of Soraka. I mean, we're not going to draw 10. Great. But yeah, that's kind of like... I think that's a really important way to think about the game, especially the idea of, like, these control mirrors. And especially if you come from other card games, because the way spell mana and alternating action system work in this game makes the fundamental idea of reactivity and proactivity completely different from other card games. I think it's important to understand this, which is that, like, even some fairly aggressive decks need to be able to play reactive sometimes, like need to be able to take weird passes. It's a very, very strange system until you understand it.